You remember what key you sing yours in? That's what you're, I know.
Good morning. Nice to see everybody settling in. Thank you very much for coming this morning to the breakfast, the annual St. Patrick's Day breakfast. I'd like to introduce Kathy Dabrowski from Adirondack Bank, our main sponsor, and thank you very much for participating. Thanks, Debbie.
Good morning. On behalf of Adirondack Bank, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 52nd St. Patrick's Day breakfast. I am proud to say that this is the 13th year that Adirondack Bank has sponsored this fine event. Adirondack Bank is a regional bank that strives to bring great customer service to our community. On our behalf, please enjoy, have fun, and welcome in the 52nd Irishman of the Year. Thank you again for sharing this great day with Adirondack Bank and the North Country Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Dabrowski, a good Irish name. I was going to get up here and, tell an old Irish joke, but I think Kevin's full of all. So I'll allow Kevin to take care of that. And I did bring something, Kevin, for you, just in case you stumble a little bit in your monologue. I want you to, brought you some nice comfort food. So if you need it, it's right there. Kevin Clean.
You did a heck of a job, Gary. You didn't introduce yourself. This is Gary Titherton. He is the chairman of the board of the Chamber of Commerce. did a nice job of thanking the staff from the chamber too for setting this all up. Dr. Edling's here, you know, he's the president of the college. Thanks for having us. Wiry, thanks for having us on the radio. And if you need to borrow a tie next year, let me know. Thanks for the kind introduction. And top of the morning to you. And this is when you say, and the best for the rest of the day. Top of the morning to you. Fantastic. I'm so excited. I wish I could be out there with you. It's nice to see that 500 of you rock eaters can still afford a $25. Last year, John Van Assen did a nice job of introducing me as well, and there was some talk about Chamber Ski Day. And I heard that I don't think we had any mishaps this year. A couple of chamber staff went down last year. But I have heard there's been some really nice skiing in the last couple of weeks. I was talking to Tracy Clark, people from the Community Bank, Sybil Houghton. Why don't you guys stand up right there? They're way in the back. Tracy and Sybil, stand up so everybody can see. There they are. They said they were skiing. I said, wow. Last week, I said, you bankers, you have all this time off. And they said, no, actually, we called in sick. I said, really? What did you tell them you had? He said, we have anal glaucoma. I said, that sounds terrible. What's that? He says, that's when I can't see my arse coming into work today. Good, I already cursed before the invocation even. That's good. Well, you know, this is the 15th year I've done this. It doesn't seem possible. But I just thinking back, when I started, there used to be this long head table with all these dignitaries here. You can see what I've reduced it to. Now, really some fascinating, great people participating in the years. Joe Bornstein, probably the greatest MC this city's ever had. I was honored to be asked to do his eulogy. It's one of the best compliments I've ever gotten in my life. And Monsignor Dwyer, lovely gentleman. And of course, Mike Mannix. And now this year, we lost Angie after 94 or 5 years. You're allowed to go after 94 or 5, I guess. So, in this year we also lost John Iadeli, who was the only person that's ever been a couple to get the award. Helen and John got the award one year, and Gordy Hazel also left us this year. Which makes me think there's one heck of a hoolie going on in heaven today. It also makes me think of one thing else. I'm bad luck. I hope you guys got your affairs in order. And then we lost Jack D. He's not here this year, to a terrible tragedy. He got married and moved away. Before I have Father McGinnis come up, I just want to let you know that, well, most of you know that I've been publicly excommunicated from the Catholic Church. Heck of a party. I decided I was going to try and make it right. I prepared myself to go to confession. So I started writing down my sins. I haven't been in 20 or 30 years. So 3 months later, I was ready. I'm a little nervous. Haven't been to confessional in a long time. But I get up my nerve and I go and I sit down in the confessional and I say, man, things have really changed since I've been here. I sit down, there's a full mini bar there, cigars, and some chocolates. said, wow, this is great. So I said, bless me, Father, for, I got that far, and there's a tap on my shoulder. It's Father McGinnis. He says, you're in my seat. Father McGinnis with the invocation, please.
I'd love to know where that bar is. Anyway, short story, very short, and then a blessing, which is an ancient, old Irish blessing, and I don't even know the author. But Gallagher opened the morning newspaper and was dumbfounded to read in the obituary column that he had died. He quickly phoned his best friend, Finney. "Did you see the paper?" said Gallagher. "They said I died." "Yes, I saw it," replied Finney. "Where are you calling from?" Let us pray. May the blessing of light be on you, light without and light within. May the blessed sunlight shine upon you and warm your heart till it glows, like a great peat fire, so that the stranger may come and warm himself at it as well as the friend. And may the light shine out of the eyes of you like a candle set in the windows of a house, bidding the wanderer to come in out of the storm. And may the blessing of the rain be on you, the soft, sweet rain. May it fall upon your spirit, so that all the little flowers may spring up and shed their sweetness on the air. And may the blessings of the great rains be on you, that they beat upon your spirit and wash it fair and clean, and leave there many a shining pool, and sometimes a star. And may the blessings of the earth be on you, the great round earth. May you ever have a kindly greeting for people you pass as you are going along the road. And now may the Lord bless you and bless you kindly. This is my Irish blessing for you.
Very nice, very nice. It is going to be a beautiful day. 50, 60 degrees outside. And it's already a good day. I already made the front page of the paper. I'm just hoping that my audience today will be half as mature and well-behaved as the preschoolers I was reading to yesterday. Well, there's a fella, Catholic guy, gets hit by a bus. Now, I hope he had his clean cax on, because remember what your mother said. You always wear your clean cax in case you get hit by a bus. My brother always used to say, "Mom, if I look up the street and I'm about to get hit by a bus, I'm not going to have clean cax." At any rate, the poor fella gets hit by a bus. He's a Catholic and he's calling for a priest. He thinks he's near death. So he says, "Get me a priest, I need a priest, fetch me a priest." So they put out the call, and the ambulance is coming, and the people are coming around, they put out the call, "Is there a priest anywhere to be found?" Surely there's got to be one in earshot. So we have to give this man the last rites. Well, this little 80-year-old Jewish fella taps a guy on the shoulder, he says, "Well, you know, I'm not a priest, I'm not even a Christian." He said, "But I've been living behind the Catholic Church for 50 years. And I can hear the services nearly every night. And I think I know enough about it to give this poor soul some comfort." So they cleared out the space, and he gets down and very solemnly he goes, "B14. Good income producer, as I understand it. This one's not quite so much for the faint of heart, and I'm sorry for every lad in the room, but I'm going to tell it anyway. It's another church story. And the minister asked, he says, "Does anybody have anything to praise blessing for in the church?" This woman stands up and goes, she says, "I do." She She says, in fact, my husband Tom was in a terrible bicycle accident, and it crushed his scrotum. Now every guy's knees in this room now are vapor locked together. Couldn't move for a long time, terrible accident. Couldn't carry the kids around, he was in terrible pain no matter what he did. So the woman's still talking. She said, but we prayed. We prayed that we could have an operation that Tom would get his scrotum put back together. Now we're not talking about Humpty Dumpty here. So they were able to do a long, complex operation, and they wired Tom's scrotum back together. She said, and he's well today, and that's what I have to give praise for. She said, the minister said, is there anyone else who would like to give praise? And the fellow walks up and he goes, my name's Tom. And I just want to tell my loving wife, the word is sternum. With all due reverence, now I would like to introduce the past Irishmen and women who are here today. Before I forget, I want you, James Conley, who is our organist, piano player today, asked me to announce, in all seriousness, that Angie LaMariana left his Irish music to the chamber. So the chamber has it, and Mr. Conley is going to be the one to hang on to it. So. By the way, Mr. Conley used to be the music teacher at my high school. Don't hold that against him. Bill McBride was supposed to be here, but had a death in the family. But there's a kind of a neat story, and if you see him, you can wish him happy birthday. His birthday is actually the 16th. He was born 10 minutes before the 17th. And today, or yesterday, was his 80th birthday. So if you see him, wish him a happy birthday. In 1977, we gave the award to a woman that always brings great Irish spirit to the breakfast, and that was Jan Shambo. In 1995, we gave the award to one of my favorite ladies in Plattsburgh, Claire Guino. Claire and I showed up at an event once. I can't remember whether it was Lake Forest or Pine Harbor, both great senior living centers in our community. And she was there. We'd been there a few times. And, she met a fella there. She goes, I've never seen you here before. She goes, well, I just got here. Because I used to live here years ago, but now I'm back. She goes, well, where have you been? I said, prison. I said, what for? He goes, I killed my wife. She goes, oh, you're single? In 1996, the first time I was here at the podium, we did this for the first time live on the radio. We gave the award to Voice of the North Country, Gordy Little. In 1998, we gave the award to the Connecticut peddler Stan Ransom. Sometimes we have to get people here under false pretenses. So Stan came ready with some instrument, and he's going to play a song. This is the Holy Soup or something. It's called like a Christmas cake, or Irish cake or something. And of course, instead of having him come up and do that, he won the award. In 1999, my pleasure to award it to Bill Morgan. Now talk about the greatest surprise. If you weren't here in 2001, we have Jack LeDuc sitting on the stage here with his camera, ready to shoot whoever's about to come get the award, and we awarded the award to him. So in 2001, Jack LeDuc. In 2002 was the lovely Jeannie Roberts. 2003, one of the hardest working volunteers you can have on your side, Shirley O'Connell. In 2004, during his third year as a gig as the teller of tales, Mr. Mark Berry. 2007, the great half Irish, half Italian, Johnny Massell. I don't know if he showed up or not, but last year, should be here defending his championship, Herb Carpenter. He didn't have much to say last year. I was thinking maybe if we had time this year, he could give his acceptance speech. Now I'm going to ask Cortland Wood to come up in a minute to sing Danny Boy. Wouldn't be St. Patrick's Day breakfast without Danny Boy. Cort gets asked to sing at a lot of places, you know, stadiums and all these kind of things. He's famous for it. But one time he gets asked to sing at a graveside service. It's a public service because this fella really didn't have any family. He really doesn't have any money or anything. So they asked him and he agreed to do it. He said, but it was way out in the country. And it was in a place where no one else had ever been buried before, kind of a family plot. But he was going to be laid to rest there. So Cortland got in the car and tried to find this place. Being the true man, wouldn't ask for directions and showed up an hour late. Now, the hearse is gone, but the fellas are still there with the backhoe and all, and tidying things up. So he shows up and apologizes for being late. I'm so sorry. Beside himself for being late. Says, fellas, I won't hold you long, but I really think it's important that we do the right thing and sing some songs for this fella. So he goes over to the graveside, and the vault is already in the ground. Cortland begins to sing. Does the works, Danny Boy, Galway Be. By the time he's done, he's got these poor workers all gathered around in the, Amazing Grace, and they're sobbing. They're sobbing. He finishes up, and one of the fellas goes to the other and goes, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I've never seen anything like that. And I've been putting in septic tanks for 20 years. Accompanied by James Conley, this had Danny Boy.
Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling. From glen to glen and down the mountainside, the summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. It's you must go and I must hide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. It's I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so.
Right on, Cortland. Fantastic. John Zerlo was telling me a story. Tells me a lot of stories. It reminded me of what is actually a true story for me. Now, as Betty Little said when she was talking about the government of New York State, you can't make this stuff up. I'm in Montreal with my son. My son's 9 years old at the time. Just him and I. Going to a ball game and stayed overnight. We thought we were getting pretty savvy on the metro. And he's a pretty bright kid, you know, so he goes, "Can we go to Notre Dame before the game?" I was like, "That's pretty nice." His son wants to go to church on Sunday morning. So, you know, where all the intersections are in the metro, and he runs down the stairs, he gets on the blue train, and I step on the blue train, and I said, "Dan, wrong train." I step off, doors close, and off he goes. True story. And metros don't chug off like a train. They're gone. Your 9-year-old son just went off to one of the biggest cities in North America. Well, that's the longest 5 minutes of my life. Trying to think. Make a long story short, he got off the next stop and went to the booth, and we found him. Now, if it was his sister, she'd still be up there riding around in Montreal. Whatever. So John Zerlo's in the mall with his grandson. He lost him. He lost his grandson. But normally that's the biggest question I ask. It was asked to me when I lost my son in the metro. Who got to tell his mother? That's usually the biggest question. So. The kid's a pretty bright kid too. He goes up to the security guard. And the security guard says, "Well, what's he like?" Kid paused for a minute, he goes, "Jack Daniels and women with big jugs." All right, Mark, that ought to set you up a little bit. All right, the teller of tales.
blazing new trails today, Kevin. Thank you all very much. It's always great here to be at Plattsburgh State, my alma mater, where you can get a good meal. If you're lucky today, a good case of the mumps. I was showing Kevin some of my cards. We had the exact same joke about the graveside service, but we hadn't talked to each other. So, Father, you're no longer in my monologue. I'm sorry. I was going to put him at the graveside instead. I'm actually surprised to see Pat Russell here today. Where is he? Where's Pat? Where is Pat? Pat, why don't you wave, Pat? Pat's still recovering from the weekend. He and Kevin went to the casino, and I won't tell you that they might have had one or two too many, but they had one or two too many. And they're into this game called Keno. Maybe you've seen this game Keno. It's like a large board on the wall, and there's a whole bunch of numbers on it, and you pick your numbers, and if your numbers light up, you could win hundreds or maybe even thousands of dollars. And it was getting pretty late in the evening, and all of a sudden Pat started screaming, "Kevin, look, this is unbelievable. Look at this. And what are you talking about?" I said, "Look, the numbers, they're coming up in order. 2, 3, 4, 5. Kevin says, "You're in the elevator, you jackass." Now, my job here is just to tell you a story, and I'm French-Canadian, I'm not anywhere near Irish, and most of my stories don't come from books, they come from when I grew up or from my own family. And last week somebody asked me, "So are you all set for St. Patty's Day?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "You must get nervous." I said, "Yeah, I do." But I was reminded of when I learned how to be calm in a crisis. That's the story I want to tell you today. I learned it from my mother. And by the way, I should mention, I'm from a large family. I have 7 brothers and 1 sister. In fact, I have a twin brother. His name is Dennis. He was the evil one. We grew up on Route 9 out in Champlain. We had a 3-bedroom home, one for my sister, one for all of us boys, and one for my parents. The boys' room was great. We had 3 sets of bunk beds. And until the first one off to college, there was always the 2 little ones would sleep in the bottom bunk together. By the way, Father, I did ask my mother once and said, "Mom, did you and Dad have 9 kids because we're Catholic?" And she said, "No." She said, "Your father and I had 9 kids because for the first 7 years of our marriage, we didn't have enough money to buy a television set." Now, this is a true story. I was in 5th grade. It was just past spring, heading into the warmer weather. And we had just had Fire Prevention Week at St. Mary's Academy. And Sister Amy, among other things, taught us about the danger of playing with matches. And she went so far as to say that the only safe book of matches was a book of matches that was spent, used, stone cold. Well, my twin brother took that message to heart. And a little while later, when he stumbled onto a book of matches at our house, probably because my dad was a smoker, he found a set, he decided that he would render these matches safe to the world. So he lit them up, he blew them out, he threw them on the ground, and he stomped on them and he walked away. Unfortunately, at the time, he was in the hayfield between our house and our neighbor's house. Now, he barely got to our side of the property line, and he looked back, and there was this wall of flame in the field. And the neighbor spotted it, and I won't mention the neighbor's name, he's still around here. He's a great big fellow, very gravity challenged, if you know what I mean. So he yelled to his wife to call the fire department, and he ran to his garage and he starts uncoiling his garden hoses. He's going to hook all these hoses up and put the fire out until the fire department gets there. So now this is pretty exciting for us kids growing up in Route 9. He was our closest neighbor. And we're watching all this, and my sister says to my older brother Ronnie, she says, "You know, maybe we want to get one of the hoses out and help this fellow." "Nope, can't do that." "Why not?" "You know, because Dennis ran over the garden hose with the lawnmower last week." "Okay." So this was my first formal lesson in hydraulics, because by the time our neighbor get all these hoses hooked up, he's going to the garage, back to the faucet, back to the hoses, and he finally turns the water on, and it was pitiful. It went about 6 feet. My brother Ron says, "You know, I think Dennis could pee for you." And my other brother says, "No, he can't." I said, "Yes, he can." "No, he can't." "Yes, he can. Remember last week? He had all his friends over, and they're on the side of the house having that contest. Dennis was the only one who hit the window. I remember, he told Mom he didn't know it was open. Well, pretty soon we can hear the sirens. And we didn't know it at the time. But right about the time that the trucks were leaving the station in Champlain, my mother, who was 6 months pregnant at the time, again, decided to come home for lunch. She'd like to do that because she said she needed a rest. Not that day. So she gets to the intersection of Route 9 and 11, the light's green, she's ready to turn, but she can't because there's these 2 fire trucks hauling by. So she waits for them to go by, and she makes a right-hand turn, and she's following these fire trucks south of Route 9. And I'm sure she's saying to herself, I wonder where the fire is. Well, the 2.5 miles, she figured it all out, and she follows these fire trucks right into our driveway. Now back then, one of the members of the volunteer fire department was Albert Morello, just passed away a little while ago. His son is Andy Morello. Albert also served, Alan knows this, as the police chief in the great big village of Champlain. So we're all standing there by the garage watching all the excitement as the fire trucks were all out there hosed. And Police Chief Albert Morello comes over to talk to us. Now we're a close-knit family, we stick up for each other. Nobody messes with the berries in Champlain, there's too many of us. We know exactly what he's going to ask us. So he comes over and he said, now which one of you kids is going to tell me how this fire got started? We looked him straight in the eye and in perfect unison we said, Dennis did. So he motions to Dennis and they go off with my mother to have a little chat. And my little brother Stephen, actually my little brother Brian, he says, you think Dennis is going to go to jail? And my oldest brother Richard, who knew everything, he said, well, he's in trouble. Yeah, but do you think he's going to go to jail? I don't know. He's in big trouble. Is he going to go to jail or not? He said, I don't know if he's going to go to jail. I said, what is it to you? Well, he said, if Dennis goes to jail, he said, I get to sleep in the top bunk all by myself. So anyway, it didn't take the fire department very long, and they managed to put the fire out. They started to leave, and unfortunately there was a ditch in the field, and one of the trucks got hung up in the ditch. This is all true, by the way. And so they bring in the second truck to give the first truck a push. And of course the field's soaking wet, the second truck starts spinning its wheels, they both stop. Now watching my mother through all this, and she's very calm, she's very quiet. She's quietly thanking the firemen for their service, apologizing for the trouble that we put them through. They call the town garage, which is just down the road from our house, and they get a truck to go over there and tow out the fire trucks. They finally get them all ready to go. They're heading out the driveway. The police chief is still having a little chat with my brother Dennis. And then my grandmother comes over. Now, I'll be honest, my grandmother and my mother didn't get along very well. Probably because my grandmother had a knack of saying the wrong things at the wrong place at the wrong time. And that day wasn't going to be any different. So she gets over there and she said, now Hazel, listen to me. I know you're angry. I know you're upset. But you got to think of yourself and you got to think of the baby. And above all, you have to stay calm. You hear me? You've got to stay calm. And my mother looked at her mother and she said, Ma, I am calm. I am very calm. And as soon as the police leave, I'm going to kill that little bastard. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Really pretty nicely on time. One more before we bring on the barber shoppers. Kelly and I every once in a while get a chance to watch a little girl. I won't tell your name because it's probably against the law to tell you. Sweet little thing. She's got a little tea set for Christmas. And so she's having a tea party for herself. And Kelly's upstairs and she's bringing out the tea. She says, "You want some tea?" Of course, I wanted some tea. It's just water. I wanted some tea. It's so cute. It's really cute. This goes on for a while, and I'm having a bunch of tea. And Kelly comes down the stairs and says, "You know, did you ever stop to think that the only source of water that she can reach is the toilet?" You don't want to thought that one out. The Barber Shoppers, we're going to do a little sing-along. Yes?
Yes, we are. Happy St. Patrick's Day, top of the morning to you. We're the Cumberland Bay Barber Shoppers, and if you look in your program, you'll see that we have some songs there that we're going to be singing. The first one is When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, and then My Wild Irish Rose. We hope you'll sing along with us in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day. Just to give you a heads up, our 51st annual show is on June 12th, Saturday night at Hawkins Hall, Hills Auditorium. And this year we're doing Beach Blanket Barbershop. And so we get to wear our cool Hawaiian shirts, and so it's going to be really neat, and we hope that all you gnarly dudes and bodacious babes will be there. You need to be there, and that's again on June 12th, Saturday night at Hawkins Hall.
I'm sitting on top of the world, just rolling along, just rolling along, because I'm feeling the blues of the world, just singing a song, just singing a song. For Howley, I just phoned Carson, hey, car, get ready to go, just like Humpty Dumpty. I'm ready to fall because I'm sitting on top of the world. on top of the world. Rolling along, rolling along. I'm waiting for the blues, just singing a song, just singing a song. For hallelujah, I just don't want to sing a party ready to go. Just like Humpty Dumpty, I'm ready to fall because I'm singing on top of the world. Just singing a song, just singing a song. I'm sitting on top of the world.
How many of you out there are Beach Boy fans? Does anybody remember the Beach Boys? Oh, good. I'm sure there are more of you that remember the Beach Boys. Here's a Beach Boy song.
Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take you. Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama. You wanna go Montego, baby, why don't we go Jamaica at the Florida There's a place called Kokomo. That's where you want to go to get away from it all. Bodies in the sand, tropical drinks, nothing in your hand. You'll be falling in love to the rhythm of a steel drum band. Wake up, wake up and go from over Jamaica. Ooh, I wanna take you to Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama. Here I go, Montego, ooh, why don't we go down to Kokomo? We'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow. That's where we want to go. We're heading for to eat that monster breakfast tea. We'll go out to sea and we'll look at our chemistry. By and by we'll be by a little bit of gratitude. Afternoon delight, cocktails and moonlit night. That dreamy look in your eyes gives me a tropical contact high. We're down in Kokomo, Jamaica. Ooh, I wanna take you to Bermuda, Bahama. Come on, pretty mama. Here I go, Montego. Baby, why don't we go down to Kokomo? We'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow. That's where we want to go. We're heading for Kokomo, Jamaica. Oh, that's where we want to go. We're heading for Bermuda, Bahama. Oh, that's where we want to go. Way down in Kokomo.
Oh, thank you very much. Getting closer to Royal Order. I wanted to share one thing with you, just take a minute. Punky Dooham Day sent me a card. I thought it was quite cute. It's the 10 top leprechaun complaints. Number 10. They find a certain cereal to be neither magical nor delicious. Even with a seat down, number 2, they keep falling in the toilet. Santa's elves are always stealing their chicks. It's hard to hold your whiskey when you're built like a 4-year-old. After you've heard Top of the Morning a few thousand times, you kill for it just a plain old hello. Pots of gold aren't worth that much at all anymore after taxes. Not easy to outrun a riding lawnmower. Every time they wash their outfits, the entire load of laundry turns green. You try being cute and whimsical 24/7. And of course the last is, let's just say they've got the smallest shillelaghs in the world. Transitioning right into the Royal Order of the Blarney Stone, we're now going to add one name to that very prominent list that you have there with you today. The Royal Order goes like this. Whereas on March 17, 1959, they did band together in the banks of the Shylock River in Plattsburgh, New York, in the North Country, a group of intrepid Irishmen who established the great and honorable Royal Order of the Blarney Stone. Whereas this art has played a significant part in promoting, advancing the welfare, prosperity, happiness, and credibility of many of the area's most prominent citizens, has served as a cornerstone of some of its most successful, memorable enterprises and institutions. Whereas it has been decreed that there should be annually admitted to the membership in the Royal Order those kindly souls imbued with the spirit of St. Patrick, blessed with the art of Blarney, not necessarily blessed with Irish name, but by use of quick and facile tongue, have nevertheless endeared themselves to the Irish race. And whereas a person is known to us as a visual community leader, proud of heritage, comfortable with Cabernet or Chardonnay, educated by the saints, this person later became the educator. This person is now known to pilfer pockets to fill the local coffers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that having full confidence in his malarkey, wishing to secure for him a place in Irish posterity, and seeking to bestow upon his evidence of our esteem and affection, we do hereby confer upon John Zerlo. An election thing for you, you know. The fourth ward opens at 9 o'clock. Neither did I when I read it. It is my esteemed pleasure to rechristen you, John Ryan Michael Sean Ronan Patrick O'Zerlo, with all the rights and privilege of the outrageous prerogatives of the order. Congratulations.
I just can't believe this. I sat there and I was kind of dazing off and waiting for the name to be announced. Had no inkling of what Kevin was saying. But I guess I can leave now because I've said more than Mr. Carpenter did last year. But I really appreciate this honor. I can't believe this. I've spent my life in public service from 1960 on. Taught for 35 years. Was in politics for even more. As a young person out of college, I was elected shortly after on the local level and continued since the 60s till today, and all those years have tried to provide public service to the constituents in the Northern Tier, as well as in the last 16 years of entire Clinton County. More than 16, I forgot my 6 years as a legislator, 20 some odd years in Clinton County, and that was my life. And I told my wife that when I die, I want on my gravestone a life of service. And that's what I've tried to do, and I'm just happy that my parents were sent up here in 1935 so I could be born in Plattsburgh at the Physicians Hospital Stevens, which is now one of the finest hospitals in New York State, CVPH. But this is where we made our life, and what a better place to raise a family and to live with great people than here in Clinton County in northern New York. Thank you very much for this honor. I'll do my best to make you proud for the rest of my career. And I just can't believe this. I'm overcome. Thank you very, very much.
Just a couple more pieces of business. I told you that one was going to be a lot of fun. Herb will be proud of you though, John. I had your resume here too. We need to, if you have a raffle ticket, break that out now. Take care of that, and the Irish blessing, and we'll put you on your way. We have an extra fabulous prize this year. A fellow named Bob St. Mar donated that. Wouldn't you love to have that baby on your yard? I can feel the tension in the air. This is for the St. Patrick's Day work. And by the way, he sells these for a living if you need. I got his information if you need to have him. The winner of that will be ticket number 420873. Jody's not taking it back to her office. No, not that one. 420873. I think you're going to be the only one on your street. Thank you, Bob St. Mar. Very generous gift. The bad news is, Jeannie, you're not going to win the basket of booze now. But somebody might share it with you. Here's the other one. 420264. Same table. I think you're going to be able to work something out there. Congratulations. Do we stand for this? Not necessary. The barber shoppers again with the Irish blessing. Thank you very much. It's very lovely. I couldn't help but notice, though, there's one woman standing in front of all the guys telling them what to do. How unusual. I want to thank you all for coming. I hope you have a marvelous day. Be safe and have a lot of fun today. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody.